Hello, let's talk today about Bhagavad Gita. There are many Vedic scriptures in which you can find a lot of wisdom. One of those Vedic scriptures, it is epos Mahabharata. Mahabharata, it is a huge epos that you can find in 18 books. And in this epos, you can find many stories about how people were living in Vedic times. It is approximately before 5,000 years back from now and more. So Bhagavad Gita, it is short part of Mahabharata epos, and you can find it in book number 6, Bhishma Parva. So the main idea of Bhagavad Gita, it is discussion between two heroes of Mahabharata, between warrior Arjuna and Krishna. Krishna, it is incarnation of God Vishnu. And please imagine, there is a huge field. In this field, there are two armies standing in front of each other. Those armies prepared all weapons and they are prepared to fight. In both sides, there are members of the same family. There was Solar dynasty, and in this family there were members who were standing for high moral values, high ethic values towards others, and another members were standing in another side, inside of lying, inside of stealing, inside of doing bad things to others. On one side stands Pandavas. Pandavas stands for high moral values, and in another side stands Kauravas. And all those warriors, they see that in both sides there are members like grandfathers, fathers, brothers, and so on. And Arjuna, before this fight, he says that I don't want to start with this war, and I don't want to kill those family members because they were teaching me, we were living with them, and even that they were doing very bad deeds for us. They were cheating, they were lying, they were stealing from us. Even in this situation, I don't want to start this war. And then Bhagavad Gita happens. Then Bhagavad Gita starts. Then Krishna, seeing his confusion, seeing Arjuna's confusion, with a very deep compassion, he starts to explaining Arjuna essential things of how this universe works, essential principles of life. He starts to explaining it before that war to Arjuna. And then happens dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna. Krishna explaining, Arjuna asking some questions. And in this discussion, Krishna explains the reasons, like in very deep way, why Arjuna he should start that war. It means why they should fight with each other. So, main idea of Bhagavad Gita, it is this discussion, it is this speech between Arjuna and between Krishna. One of the reasons why Mahabharata, why this battle happened, it is because there were a change in yugas, and from one yuga there should be a switch to Kali Yuga. Yugas, it is very long period of very long period of time. And there were, there were a golden age, there were silver age, there were bronze age, there were metal age. So in Vedic times there was also the same 4 yugas. I think it's Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So the reason of this battle, it was because from one yuga needed to start Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, it is kind of the lowest, like the worst time when level of consciousness becomes very, very low, and very low and negative tendencies of mind starts kind of working. So it's kind of, if level of consciousness was higher, so in Kali Yuga level of consciousness becomes much more lower. So one of the reasons it is this battle happened because Kali Yuga needed to start. And another very interesting reason why Kali Yuga was not able to start, because at that time there was a lot of Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas, it is warriors who are standing for truth, for justice. If Kshatriyas see that somebody are doing something bad to others, or something negative, or if Kshatriyas see that something are doing something wrong to others, Kshatriyas always goes and learns him that he should not do like this. It's kind of, Kshatriyas are like very powerful, they're very strong, and they have their own methods how to how to keep law, keep justice happening in certain area. So there were many Kshatriyas, and because there were so many strong warriors like this, Kali Yuga were not able to start. So one of the reasons why all this Mahabharata happened is just to remove all those Kshatriyas, and that Kali Yuga would be able to start. In this battle, there were killed in numbers 1,660,000,000 people. So it was like huge war. Yes, so Bhagavad Gita, it is a talk before this huge war, before this huge battle, and in this talk you can find a lot of ancient Vedic wisdom that are very related to our life, to our soul, and it is very helpful to read that in some certain period of our evolution. So if you're interested, if you have questions like who am I, what to do in my life, what happens after death, what will happen with this physical body, what is soul, so Bhagavad Gita can help you answer. Now I would like to share with you some quotes from Bhagavad Gita. The soul is neither born and nor does it die. You came empty-handed and you will leave empty-handed. The mind is restless and difficult to restrain, but it's subdued by practice. Happiness is a state of mind and has nothing to do with the external world. Self-knowledge turns to ash all actions of dualities on your mind and brings you inner peace. The key to happiness is the reduction of desires. A person can rise through the efforts of his own mind or draw himself down in the same manner, because each person is his own friend or enemy. Through constant effort over many lifetimes, a person becomes purified of all selfish desires and attains the supreme goal of life. There are three gates to this self-destructive hell: lust, anger, and greed. Renounce these three. Perform all work carefully, guided by compassion. Those established in self-realization control their senses instead of letting their senses control them. It is better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to live an imitation of somebody else's life with perfection. Man is made by his belief. As he believes, so he is. When a man dwells on the pleasure of sense, attraction for them arises in him. From attraction arises desire, the lust of possession, and this leads to passion, to anger. From passion comes confusion of mind, then loss of remembrance, the forgetting of duty. From this loss comes the ruin of reason, and the ruin of reason leads man to destruction. Just as the embodied soul continuously passes from childhood to youth to old age, similarly, at the time of death, the soul passes into another body. The wise are not deluded by this. That which pervades the entire body, know it to be indestructible. No one can cause the destruction of imperishable soul. Only the material body is perishable, the embodied soul within indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharat. And the last one: as a person sheds worn-out garments and wears new ones, likewise, at the time of death, the soul casts off its worn-out body and enters a new one. So this was some quotes from Bhagavad Gita, and there are, of course, the way much more. So if you practice yoga, if you practice meditation, if you are interested about why did you come to this life, what are the reason for this life, who am I, what should I do in this life, I think Bhagavad Gita can be very, very interesting for you. You can find it on the internet, you can buy the book, you can also find an audio book, and maybe in some other ways you can find this Bhagavad Gita. So, very strongly recommend to read this ancient Vedic scripture, Bhagavad Gita. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.